Alright, this is Super. I figured I'd make a video because I can talk about where Diablo 4 is hitting, I think, and where I stand in that particular bracket of players that are, still have the time for the game, but kind of old, you know. Most of the people who started D2 when they were like teenagers, like 12 or 10, and then played D3 when they went in college, which is pretty much me, I think. We are now like 30 years old. We're more than that, 30 to 40, and most of us just don't have the time to like play Diablo in the way that we used to. Given that Diablo 4 also to some extent has a very casual player base, this kind of means that a lot of people are just going to stick to a non-battle pass, a non-seasonal use of the game. Like nobody will, less likely, you'll see like more people in my generation just like forego the battle pass and forego seasons and just play the base game as it is. So with all ARPGs, what's important is where the majority of the player base is going to be, right? So in a game like Path of Exile, where everyone plays seasons, right? Seasons are the main draw of Path of Exile. You only want to play Path of Exile for the seasons itself. If you really look at a standard, which is pretty much non-seasonal, that's non-seasonal game mode, it's treated as the graveyard for all builds that that people finish during their seasons. And I don't think this will extend to Diablo. First and foremost, I think a lot of players are just going to stick with non-seasonal content, and that also will incentivize Blizzard to create content for non-seasonal content, right? To create a better endgame for non-seasonal content, because my understanding and my suspicion is that a lot of people are not willing to play through the base game again, because this is like if you want to look at Path of Exile, right? The base game, outside of the end game, is like, if you're really fast at it, it's like 4 hours, and if you are like average at it, like I am, it's like 10, right? And like I just slowly plod my way through it. It's 10 hours. But Diablo 4 is literally like, I think 30 hours of gameplay, just to finish the campaign. Okay, maybe you could rush it in 20, but it's 30 hours of gameplay, and then maybe about another 20 hours on top of that to get max renown, to hit world tier 4 for an average player, right? I'm not talking about someone who's like a racer or someone who's really great at the game, or a streamer who has all the time to spend on this and to get good at this. An average player, okay, that's not even average. The average hardcore player, like the average player who's really passionate about the game is gonna take an average of maybe about 50 to 60 hours to go through the entire campaign and get to the point where they are at the end game, or rather what seems to be the end game for Diablo 4. So if that's the case, the issue with Diablo 4 is that the end game is considerably sparse compared to the campaign, right? Which is understandable because this game's kind of been out only for a short while. So all the complaints that most people are having is that there is really no point to be pushing into seasons, and really no point to be pushing into seasonal content if it is not supplementing the end game in any way. So I think that's mainly the big concern. And with Blizzard's direction, I'm pretty sure what most average players would do is they'll just skip seasons entirely, right? I'm planning to skip seasons entirely, and I'm pretty sure a lot of the friends I know who are middle-aged, working day jobs, have families, they're not gonna touch seasons at all. Where in PoE it's completely different. It's like the whole game is about seasons, and because the whole game is about seasons, you pretty much, it's fine for you to set aside time. Say, I'm gonna play PoE and just play seasons, and when it goes to standard, I forget about my characters. I don't think Diablo has that community to begin with, and I also don't think that they have. I don't think the game is in a good state where seasonal content is going to be a huge pool that a majority of the player base will move to it, right? And with all ARPGs, like if you ask me, like why did I pick up Diablo 4 in the first place, even though I know it's a a far less superior game than PoE in terms of ARPG gameplay. The reason being is that a lot of the friends I knew who played like, you know, Diablo 3. Okay, there's less of them now. I mean, it's already 2 weeks, right? But a lot of them I knew when we were all college students and we were all playing Diablo 3 together. They popped on and they played this. So it was fun because you could connect to people you never really connected to before. And if the majority of people are going to be in non-seasonal content, then Blizzard probably has to step up and create better non-seasonal content, or make the seasons more accessible, right? How do you make the seasons more accessible? Give people let people retain the renown, transfer their characters over, not have a campaign. Then again, the problem with it is, you know, every single game nowadays has to they want to give more content. The way they structure content is for viewing, not for playing. And what I mean by that, it's like, if you give that option to skip campaigns to a streamer and they do it, it will look really boring on stream. Because all the streamer will do is hit to the end game immediately, which is like dungeons, and as you can tell, the end game here in Diablo 4 is pretty sparse, and all they're gonna do is just farm the same dungeons over and over again, which is really boring, and it's not good content, and yeah, the game will look boring to a lot of viewers. So I think Diablo is in a pickle right now with regard to this. That being said, I'm still enjoying Diablo. I'm still enjoying it because I like PvP a lot. I don't really care too much about like Uber bosses. All it does is drop a cosmetic. I like PvP because it's just fun. It's just fun for me, right? Alright, that's pretty much about it. I'm currently just leveling glyphs actually. But once I level up my glyphs to max, I'm just gonna log on to this game once in a while to PvP for fun. That's pretty much it. I hope you enjoyed this video. It's pretty short. It's just my stance on what I think about the game. Likely is when PoE 2 comes out. This is my take, alright? When PoE 2 comes out, I'm not gonna play this at all. I'm not gonna play D4 at all for like a long time. Unless they like drastically improve things. Because just PoE is just a way better game. To be frank. Although to some extent I think PoE 4 will PoE 2 will alienate some of its existing player base, because I do think PoE is moving towards the direction of a more ruthless style of gameplay. I enjoyed Ruthless when I played it a couple of months back, but I can tell it's not really for everyone, because my take is they're gonna start moving away from having mobility skills. They're gonna make loot a little bit more inaccessible, and yeah, that sort of thing. Alright, I'm gonna do this dungeon and close off the video. I actually would have closed off the video by now, but since I'm in a dungeon, whatever. Oh yeah, you know, yesterday what happened was when I was in the PvP zone, I dropped a unique helm, and you know, thought it would be a Shaco, and it's the other one, which is the one that gives like lucky hit chance or something like that, which is pretty unfortunate. And it got my hopes up there for a while, because rogues only technically have like two unique helm drops, I think. So when you see the unique helm drop, it's like so rare, like it's very rare for you to actually find a unique helm drop. And when you see one, you're like, oh, is it the Shaco? And yeah, pretty easy to get scammed. You know, interesting thing about rogue as well, I feel like rogues have really shitty uniques. Like if you want to compare like rogue uniques to like druid uniques or sorcerer uniques, or even necro uniques, like rogues kind of get the short end of the stick here. All the uniques are not really game, like they're not build changes, right? You don't have a unique that drops in like, oh, I have a new build that's enabled, then I can play something else different. You don't have that because like all the uniques are pretty bad. They give very minor improvements. Like if you look at Wind Force, it's like 20% chance on lucky hit to do double damage is like, so 20% chance is like 20% more damage, but only when you do a lucky hit. So that's actually very low damage increase. And because you're losing like uniques, you lose stats, right? You don't have perfect rolls. That kind of means like, you know, if the loss of perfect rolls could be like, you know, 10-20% less damage, and then you have a mod, or rather the unique. Okay, you lose the aspect too, so you lose the aspect. You lose the high rolls, and then you get like 10% more damage. It's just not worth it. So I think most of the rogue uniques are pretty bad. The daggers are pretty cool, like the Condemnation and Ashira's, but the problem with all weapons, unique weapons, is getting them with high attack power is a pain. High attack power and then high aspect roll or unique roll is also difficult. So yeah, I think the only good uniques I've seen that rogues are using are basically, I think, they're not class specific uniques. They're like Penitent, Greaves. I don't think that's class specific. And I mean, Temerity is not even that good, but some builds do use it. I mean, I've collected them to see maybe if we could build around them, but I've tested and they're just bad. Oh yeah, let's see. So as you can tell, because all the uniques are bad, I'm not using a single unique on my character. Which feels bad, like, because the only things like worth looking forward to at the late game are uniques, because you know you're gonna deck up pretty fast. And there's not really much to look forward to once you've decked out. I mean, I can go to my stash and like run through all the uniques I've found so far and give you my opinion. Maybe I'll just do that right now. But I do think a lot of rogues, the rogue uniques, that the issue is that it's very heavily tied to lucky hit, and most of the rogue skills with lucky hit are like pretty meh, like decent lucky hit. Penetrating shot, you can probably get 100% on lucky hit, but penetrating shot is like really meh for DPS, like PvP wise, even PvE wise, right? It's just great for splash, like AoE. So yeah, this is my unique tab. This is great actually, but not for rogue, probably for like Barb because of taunts. I have a really good Sky Hunter, but I don't think this is great at all. Like, okay, most of the bow skills are terrible, so that's the reason why I don't think if I could make a build, it would probably be around this. But yeah, Wind Force is perfectly roll and still garbage, just because no vulnerability roll on it, no crit damage roll on it, no high dex roll, and then Impetus is kind of meh as a passive. Hits with this weapon have up to a 20% chance to deal double damage and knockback target only on lucky hits. So it's if your lucky hit is like 30%. Wait, so first things first, hits with this weapon, right? So it has to be a marksman skill that uses a bow, right? And then only lucky hits, and if your lucky is like 50%, this is a 10% chance to proc, and then 10% chance to do double damage is just 10% more damage, right? So this is kind of meh. Condemnation, this is actually pretty nice, but the problem is for this to be worthwhile, you want to have a 30+% roll on this. I mean, 30 is more. I would like this to be 38, 39, 40. And then have a pretty high. I mean the base. Okay, this is actually pretty good. I might say this is actually pretty good. But like, what are you gonna use this with, right? Because combo points, although they are nice, most of the skills that like are good combo point spenders are generally bow skills. I think, like penetrating shot. Um, Not even rapid fire. They're not really good spenders, I think, for rogue personally. Like most rogue skills, you don't want to like use primaries and then use a spender, even though that's the way the class has been designed. You just want to keep using spenders because primaries don't do any damage. So anyway, yeah, let's move on. Your attacks randomly deal one to 190% of their normal damage. Okay, this is actually not bad. Just this basically means that whatever attacks you do, you have a 150%, 50% more damage on average if you have the max roll, because you do randomly deal 1 to 290, so it's about a 50% more damage. The problem is that all the primary stats on the look, most of the time for gloves you're gonna get like crit chance, levels is good damage, attack speed is good damage, and because you don't have any of these, this 50% more is like not much, and it makes your damage very unreliable because sometimes you do 1% damage, sometimes you do 290%, that sort of thing. Damaging a vulnerable target with a marksman or cutthroat skill has a 30% chance. So this is another problem, right? Lucky hit and then 30% chance. So if your lucky hit is 30%, this is a 30% of 30%, which is a like less than 10% chance to proc something. So less than 10% chance to proc something is like 10% more damage. It's not worth it for the amount of mods you're losing. So like this is 2 core skills, great, but you get 4 from a rare glove. I mean, this is kind of meh. So this is how it is. Temerity, it's pretty standard. This has been covered before. Look, Ice Dagger is pretty stupid, right? Unless it hits a boss or player. So if it hits a boss or player, it won't rearm, but it will continue to rearm itself until it kills an enemy. But you're always gonna kill an enemy, right? So that's the whole point of that trap. It's there to kill enemy. So it doesn't work on a boss or player because of that line where it says unless it hits a boss or player. And then on trash mobs it doesn't matter because even if it continues rearming, it's just gonna kill an enemy anyway and stop it. So this is really poorly designed unique. It doesn't do anything pretty much, and none of the primary stats on this is useful, right? Dodge chance, shadow damage, elite. Maybe it's for killing elites, maybe, but you get to a point where all elites die in like a very short span of time, and this doesn't really do anything. Anyway, yeah, Penitent Greaves really good just because of the more damage and the chill. Frostburn is, I think, a generic unique. Everyone has it. I do feel that this is not too bad. I don't like the cold damage freeze duration or the lucky hit. The crit chance is nice, but I don't think it has any use for a rogue. Modest Embrace, it's pretty meh. Okay, Word of Hagang. This is a rogue unique, a rogue specific unique. Your Rain of Arrows is always imbued with all imbuements at once. Cool, isn't it? Right. Problem is, Rain of Arrows is garbage. It's terrible, right? Rain of Arrows is like completely shit. It does no damage. It has a long cooldown, and it doesn't really matter if you have all imbuement skills on it. It's just gonna do nothing, right? So that's another rogue unique for you. Ashira's is great. Problem is, okay, the stats on it are kind of meh, and you get 27.5% attack speed, which on average is most of the time is like 15 to 20% more damage, depending on how much attack speed you already have. I have about already about 50% attack speed without this increased. So if this is another 27.5 more, it's like 150% to 175%. So the more damage increase on this is actually pretty marginal. So that's the reason why this is kind of meh. If you want to build that needs a lot of attack speed, yeah, sure. But I also think a lot of the problems is like it says hits with this weapon, right? So look at this. Hits with okay, this is great. This is not specific to the unit, but like hits with this weapon and hits with this weapon, that limits you quite a bit, right? So only marksman skills, not even this one, which is puncture, because puncture uses your dual wielded weapons. Yeah, it's just highly limiting, right? And just therefore you don't really get good. Can't really use this, I feel. So that's the grouse I have with this, right? It should be like hits, increase your attack speed, alright, more attack speed would be better rather than like increase attack speed, alright? So if you have 30% more attack speed, like action speed, like they have this in PoE, it's called action speed, right? Movement speed goes up, maybe even over cap. Attack speed goes up even over cap. Animation speed for like planting traps goes up even over cap. This would be like amazing unique, but attack speed, and such a small amount, it's not worth it. It's not good. Alright, this is the helm that I got baited by. I thought it was a Shaco. You gain 18% increased lucky hit chance against crowd control enemies. Pretty meh. Alright, maybe it's good for helping you get like 100% increased lucky chance, so you can get like 100% lucky chance on a puncture, on a penetrating shot. Is it penetrating shot? Yeah, but all in all, that's pretty mess. So that's pretty much all the rogue uniques you can find. They're all terrible. There are some that have potential, but most are just bad. Yeah, so I'm just gonna close out this video here. That's all there is. Hope you enjoy it, and I'm out. I'll probably just upload PvP videos once in a while, and yeah, that's pretty much about it. I'm waiting for PoE 2 to come out, I guess. I will play this occasionally once in a while just for fun, and maybe a bit more of Dota 2 whenever, just whenever I feel like it. And Dota 2 is also pretty fun, yeah. Alright, peace. See you guys. I'm out. Bye.